council meeting scheduled for 9:40 a.m. November 2nd will now come to order. Roll call.
Counselor Rousey?
Here.
Counselor Koivunen?
Here.
Counselor Purpich?
Here.
Counselor Lillis?
Here.
Mayor Vysalovich?
Here. Approval of minutes. City Council workshop meeting, October 12th. Minutes, City Council special meeting, October 14th. And City Council meeting, October 19th. If no one has any questions or changes, call for a motion that we approve these minutes.
So moved.
Motion made by Rousey, we have support.
Support.
Support by Purpich. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item D, approval of today's agenda. Do we have any changes, additions, or deletions on there?
You can't add anything, it's a special.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, all that.
And we really don't need an approval of the agenda. It is what it is. Okay. We have no appointments or presentations. Consent agenda, approval of payroll October 1st through the 15th, and approval of claims for October 2021. Anybody have any questions on any of the bills for October? If not, call for a motion that we approve consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by Purpich, we got a support.
Support.
Support by Lillis. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We have no unfinished business, no public hearings. We'll go on to new business. Resolution, special appropriation, general obligation bond grant.
That resolution is for the official application to the state regarding the 2020 bonding dollars that were legislated for the city of Eveleth for our indoor air quality project, which includes a partial re-roof, some hippodrome restroom refreshing, and some tuck pointing in our public buildings. With this appropriation and this grant, we have until like the end of 2025 to finish our projects. That's not our intent. Our intent is to get these bid out this winter. I'm realizing that supply chain issues are everywhere, as you all know. So there's quite the long lead time for the HVAC, but we're gonna get the ball rolling here. So this is the official paperwork to make the application. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? I'll call for a motion that we approve this resolution.
So moved.
Made by Purpich, you have a support?
Support.
Support by Rousey. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Application for exempt permit, Eveleth Gilbert Youth Hockey at the Eveleth Elks Club. I think this is something we do all the time.
Yes.
Call for a motion that we approve this application.
So moved.
Motion made by Rousey. We have a support.
Support.
Support by Purpich. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3, purchase agreement.
So I have some new information for you. So I had Stephanie distribute to you folks the proposed purchase agreement and restrictive covenants based on your prior discussions. And the law office, through Carl and Joel Lewicki, we're working on the legal description, okay? So what I handed out to all of you folks is a diagram that shows the black area is the entire tax forfeited properties that the city of Eveleth had purchased from the county after they demolished the dilapidated buildings. And as you can see, if you can look kind of through the lines, the red dash lines show where the buildings are on the adjacent properties. And interestingly, when the city attorney Joel is overlaying the official plats with the county land explorer, he questions whether there's an encroachment from 513 Grant Avenue onto the city's property. So then I spoke with Alan, okay? And County Land Explorer is not intended to be survey quality. We're not getting Benchmark out of business or anybody else. But our attorney is concerned enough that there may be an encroachment that he suggests that the city, if you continue with this sale of property, do some survey work to ensure that there's not some encroachment so that you know what you're selling. And I spoke with Alan yesterday, and he's here today, and he could comment on it. But we talked a little bit about what it would cost to do that. And as you know, Benchmark's done a lot of work throughout the city, so they have a lot of data, but they'd have to get some feet on the streets and in the field. And I'm estimating you could spend $800 to determine if there's an encroachment before you could even sell the property. So
I suppose that's the piece he's looking at.
it is the piece, yep. And even if it wasn't the piece,
You still have to know.
right, should probably figure out. And then the plats are really old and we can't read some of the dimensions on it. And it's a bit of a, dare I say, crapshoot right now that we need to do some legwork on to figure out. It's just the nature of the beast of old plats and just things happen.
Carl?
I agree.
Yeah, no, you gotta, anybody object, we gotta have it surveyed.
Well, I know when I plotted my garage, that the marks that were in the ground weren't the ones that were intentionally there, so I do know that there are some different, I'm all in favor of, spending the money and getting it done right before we have to have a complete description of the property,
Correct.
Exactly.
so.
Right. And then, I just wanted, I heard from one or two of you, and that's why it's on the agenda, for you to consider repealing yourself, because there was some interesting emails to me to have that discussion of whether you wanted to continue with your prior action and, to sell the property, and you have every right to as the governing body, and Carl can attest to that as he shakes his head, to, keep it as is, change your mind, change things, so.
Well, I know, reading some of the emails, there's a lag in this, but I was the first one who mentioned to Chaz that property was for sale. He looked at it and it didn't have an interest, about 3 weeks later, so if there's any lag there, you know, there's reasoning or blame, everybody's got a piece of that. You know, it must have been 2 or 3 weeks before he said he was interested, and I mentioned it to the council, you know. But, and he didn't like what he saw down there, and that was that for, then all of a sudden, there's not a lot of building sites, and he came back, so if there's any delay in paperwork or slow, there's a lot of people who, own that, so.
Well, I think, you know, as much as a person, you know, he needs to get building, but we can't sell a piece of property on our lawyers, what he said, until everything's taken care of. So about all I can say is you're just gonna have to wait until we get it done, and if you're still interested, come to this council again.
Well, yeah, you gotta get it surveyed.
We have to have it surveyed, I mean, for our legal aspects. And I know he's on a time schedule, but we can't sell something if we don't know exactly what it is.
I agree with everybody's saying here, is that not, zone commercial?
It is, and a garage is acceptable.
Is he working commercially out of there?
I don't believe so. But I'm unclear.
Question for Carl, how would we go about changing our previous motion regarding the sale of the property to allow for, you know, the process that we're just discussing?
I think what there is not a purchase agreement at this point.
So there's not a signed purchase agreement, because it needs a legal description, so.
Yeah. Technically, we have a conflicting legal
It's a-
description.
And the other part of it is the fact that it was known that we were preparing the purchase agreement and preparing the description. And preparing the description, we obviously ran into things that we need to make sure that we're in line with before moving forward. And with the other side of it is whether the covenants that we have, restrictive covenants that the council has talked about, whether those are gonna be really accepted. And so at this point, with the information we have for us, it is within the council's ability to rescind the prior motion.
I'm of the opinion that we scrap the whole thing, get all our things in a row, and start the procedure again, and if he's still interested, he can come forward, or whoever. But I think we should go back to step one,
Well, yeah.
just to get it straight. I mean, it's gonna be a delay, these things take time, and I read the emails too, and I understand this concept of time, but That's the way it goes. I've been waiting for things my whole life, you know.
It's,
the
that's
way it
on,
is.
that's on everybody.
Yeah, but
dragging
that's the
their
way it
feet
is. It
and-
takes as long as it takes.
Yep, and now you got a problem here, the unforeseen problem. How do you get a good legal description? When you got
See.
something like this?
Clean it all up and then redo it,
So then,
in my opinion.
Could we table it or just get?
cleaner to
What do you think? I don't
repeal
know.
it, Carl?
What was the question?
Is it cleaner to repeal the prior motion?
My advice would be to, so that you can get everything in line. I mean, it's not only the issue of getting the proper description, but making sure that, when somebody's at a meeting that says that they understand the covenants and what we're doing, but then questioning everything coming up to it, you know, maybe, my advice would be rescinding or repealing so that these issues, the two that are outstanding, with the description, and then making sure those covenants are gonna be accepted with whoever buys it.
Mayor, are you entertaining a motion to that effect?
Yeah, cause well, you know, we've sold a lot of property and I have never had anything like this come up ever. The covenant's right before you're ready to approve a deal. I mean, that stuff is all settled, and if you don't like the covenants, you didn't buy the property. You know what I mean? That's the way it works. Yeah, we probably should until we get it surveyed and see what's really there, you know? Maybe you don't have that much property when it comes right down to it.
Well, I'd make the motion to repeal the previous motion regarding the sale of the property that we're discussing to Charles Denny.
I'll support that.
Motion made by Lillis, support by Rousey, and, once the surveying gets done, then we can revisit this thing and the covenants, but like I say, right now, nobody knows what they got. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. I just can't believe it. Of course, yeah, I can believe it. You know, when I built a new garage where I lived up on South Court, well, when they surveyed, they started up by the water tank, that's where they found. First mark, when they came down there, every garage on my side of the alley was built 5 feet out into the existing alley. You can imagine that one.
I could do you one better. When I bought my house where it's currently located, there were two Shoddy brothers own the houses. My property line went 4 feet into his house, into the other guy's house, 4 feet.
The surveyor said the city engineers must have spent too much time at the bar.
I know the father bought the 2 lots for him, but they just plotted them right next to each other, and my property line went right through his house.
Everything's sliding towards the pit, Jim, that's all.
Howard Siegel had a fit with that one.
Oh. I mean, it's crazy. Somebody say, oh, there's something in the ground. Oh, yeah, that's the marker.
Yeah, they,
Yeah, right. Well, we don't have any presentations, committee reports. Anybody have anything? Chief, you got anything? Any words of wisdom for us, or?
None today.
Jerry?
I have nothing today, Mayor.
Ellen?
Just 2 things. We're hoping to do a final walkthrough on Garfield Street here later this week, tentatively Thursday. Just waiting for White to get back that works, so that'll be developing the final punch list. Anything you guys have seen or someone from the public's maybe commented on, just let myself or Jerry know, and we'll also walk through it, you know, and come up with some stuff to be corrected before a final payment can be considered, I guess. Then the other one is, we are expecting the logging on Station 44 Road to begin this week.
Oh, okay.
They were waiting for some cooler weather. Talked to Jackie just before the meeting, they did not show up there yesterday. I did, during the workshop, have a phone call I missed from Eric Nelson, the guy that's gonna be doing the logging. So I'm hoping maybe they're moving in there, but I'll find out and let Jackie and Jerry know here later this week.
well, the road is very nice. The road is very nice. I'm still not used to going up Adams to get to my house yet. I'm going down to Grant, but it's nice. It looks good to me. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
I drove down it this morning. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. The nice new curbs and everything. Hey, Jackie, one thing, you know, the old junior high property, we have a purchase agreement with the school for that, or
I sent them the letter.
the letter that
And
we're
it's
interested, right?
required.
Okay.
Saying that you'd like to purchase it, so it's in their hands and I'll follow. Come up with a price.
Ellen, did you have any preliminary, did you work on that for an alley going through there?
I believe I have a cost estimate.
Okay.
I have to dig back in my files. I think I did throw a cost estimate together, just real general. I don't believe there's any utilities involved.
'Cause I
pretty
think,
sure I can get that to Jerry or.
The gas company's probably be the only utility that would you need to get run through there, cause everything's in the streets. Anybody have any, objections to running an alley from that property? All the way through, so it continues from,
From the site, from the street down to,
East-west.
yeah, go right to the manual training, we'll have an alley in there. Cause I know there was, about three people told me they're interested in those lots, and they already have houses in town.
That's a beautiful site.
It is, I'll tell you, they did a nice job landscaping that, everything.
I don't know.
Anything else
I
for
asked
us, Al?
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Did they rectify that steam problem that they had? I see the fence is gone.
Yeah,
it's
they
all
capped
fixed?
off, they capped off the line.
Capped her off.
Free heat.
Well, I figure you could tap into that later, you know, get a big enough drill.
Jackie, you have anything?
I don't think. Thanks for asking.
Carl?
I just said, if you guys would have let me know, we were one every other with the shirts today, that would have been nice.
Oh.
I didn't get the memo either.
Yeah. Well, we're the odd.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
See, we're a member of the class.
Steph, you got anything to add?
Is there a distribution?
Hey, you got anything to add now to the meeting before I cut you off?
Well, I don't know if, before, as you breezed right by me, we did receive that, our consolidation, fire consolidation is now off the board.
Oh, okay.
That, contrary to the meeting that we had earlier, things didn't go that way over there, and they've decided to drop the consolidation efforts, whatever. So,
Well, we'll have to
and then we
wait
had an
some more time.
HRA meeting also, did we not? And I think that went swimmingly. We're discussing how much we can afford to fix up there, some doors and windows. Other than that, we're in good shape, I believe. That's what I got out of it, and my limited financial ability, you know, that we're doing good. But other than that, that's
You're
about
good?
all there is. Yeah, I'm good. I got into my stand on Sunday with this bad arm, so that was the pre-trial. So everything's okay.
Brian, you got anything to add?
No, I sure don't.
Jim?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Joe?
No, I'm good.
Well, this is first meeting I've been to like in about a month and a half, so
Joey's glad to see you, man.
the stress is unbearable. I'm telling you right now, the stress is getting to me. But I've got nothing to add. Anybody from the audience have anything to add? Bill?
One thing I forgot is that, in that concept of cocktail painting, interchange, et cetera, Kurt Wolf came up with an idea of having a whole line painted from the hockey plaza all the way up to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Just a thought, tying things together, and think about if you be creative, Sorry.
Anybody else? If not, I'll adjourn the meeting.